Life is a weird game of chance where the dice is cast at conception. Genetics, social class, upbringing, culture, country of origin, and family are all predetermined before we even take our first breath, possibly setting us leagues ahead or leaving us leagues behind. Odds for a good future can increase or decrease according to our own actions. Exercise and diet can sometimes overcome the danger of genetic health conditions. Dedication and passion can sometimes lead to opportunities. Climbing the corporate ladder through hard work sometimes earns a bigger salary, and sometimes family is formed in the blood of the covenant rather than water of the womb. But the key word is sometimes. Late nights spent grinding away for a good future can be derailed by a disgruntled employee, a vengeful ex, or even the simple carelessness of a distracted driver. There are over 8 billion people in the world, most of whom lives unaware of your name, your dreams, sacrifices, your very existence. But that doesn't stop them from having sway over you. Your whole life can be spent working towards one specific goal, only for another person to render that work meaningless. An accidental firework to the face or golf ball to the cranium. It feels unfair. And the death of a young person can feel even more unfair. An individual robbed of a chance to make change and robbed of a potential future. French writer and painter Edward Levet put it best. Your life was a hypothesis. Those who died old are made of the past. Thinking of them, one thinks of what they have done. Thinking of you, one thinks of what you could have become. You were, and you will remain, made up of possibilities. Possibilities upon ponderings upon 1,000 different futures, all laid null in a single moment and leaving behind a tragedy that ripples across various lives. The tragedy of what could have been. That concept has been explored through a multitude of storytelling mediums because it is a powerful and emotional subject. There are movies that have perfectly captured that tragedy, both through the eyes whose future has been stolen and through the eyes of a person that had a hand in stealing that future, and today we shall be exploring a few of them. Donnie Darko is a middle child, stuck between expectations falling down from an older sister and annoyed by the antics of the younger. Although having apparent mental disorders that require daily medication, Donnie is relatively a normal teenager. He struggles to find a footing in the world and within himself, his relationships with friends and family, under the strain of the common growing pains of that time. But his future, whatever future might be, is changed upon October 2nd, 1988, when a jet engine hurtling through the sky collides with the Darko house, crushing Donnie's bedroom and anyone inside. Donnie Darko would have died, if not for Frank. Frank is a 6-foot white rabbit with strange features and stranger words. He tells Donnie that the world will end in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. Donnie's sleepwalking spells, the crashed jet engine, and future visions are all connected, and Frank is our and Donnie's guide to understanding that connection. Frank nudges Donnie into the direction of time travel and into learning about Roberta Sparrow, the author of The Philosophy of Time Travel. The Philosophy of Time Travel introduces the concept of a tangent universe and the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is the dimension of time, and that dimension can be corrupted. Tiny, invisible, rare rips within the fabric, and other terms are introduced, such as living receiver, manipulated living, the artifact, and manipulated dead. While Frank helps Donnie in gradually understanding the link between these terms and his life, he begins to influence Donnie in other ways. Frank has Donnie break into the school to break the water main line and flood the classrooms, before later burning down the house of motivational speaker Jim Cunningham. Although these actions might feel malicious, they do have future importance, like the burning down of Jim Cunningham's house, revealing that CP was amidst the remains, and Jim Cunningham is arrested. And as this is occurring, Donnie begins improving his relationships with people around him. He tries to encourage a young girl bullied by his friends and others that life will get better. He attempts reconciliation with his siblings and parents, apologizing for his often barbed nature, not through words but through action. He has a heart-to-heart with a teacher that has recently been fired, affirming that she is and was a good teacher. But most importantly to Donnie Darko, he has a chance at love with one Gretchen Ross. Their relationship blossoms as the clock continues counting down to the end of the world until the night that Gretchen Ross dies and the truth of Frank is revealed. Earlier in the movie, Donnie Darko went to a movie theater where Frank reveals that the White Rabbit is a costume and removes his mask, exposing his face. But it is not until Gretchen Ross dies that we have a name: Frank Anderson, Donnie's older sister's boyfriend. Making a split-second decision, Donnie shoots Frank Anderson in the face, gets into a car, drives up the mountain, and waits for the sun to rise and the world to end. It shall be the last sunrise Donnie Darko ever sees. In that split second, Donnie Darko understood what was happening. The philosophy of time explains that occasionally an artifact or metal object can corrupt the fourth dimension and break through the fabric of time. The presence of that artifact, an object outside of its correct timeline, can end the world. But the universe has a method to right that wrong through a living receiver. The jet engine is an artifact belonging to a plane that would later crash in the future, but being displaced from its proper time was sent back a month prior. Donnie Darko has been chosen as a living receiver, chosen to fix the problem the jet engine created. With his death, the plane will never crash. People around him are considered manipulated living. Their actions push him to complete his task. Frank Anderson is what philosophy of time calls a manipulated dead. His future dead self is sent back in time to guide Donnie Darko to ensure the proper events occur, including later killing Frank. All of this happens so that Donnie, the living receiver, would eventually make the correct decision. Having witnessed the end of the world, Donnie wakes up, but the date is once again October 2nd, 1988, 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds before the world is set to end. There is only a few minutes before the jet engine will crash through the roof of his bedroom, but Donnie Darko can only laugh before laying down and waiting, knowing that his death ensures the survival of the entire world. The end of Donnie Darko might be with his death, but before that, he is granted a gift, experiencing the teenage life every person dreamed of having. He stood his ground against the adults he hated. He was proven right about the people he thought were slimy and manipulative. He grew closer with his family and friends, and he had the opportunity for a beautiful romance. Although time has reset and those things will not happen, to Donnie, that life was real. He saw it, experienced it, lived it. It is a bittersweet story, a somber reflection upon the loss of a young life told through an intricately woven tale of time travel. We see the impact Donnie could have had, the effect within himself, and the rippling effect for the people around him. Perhaps, had the artifact never appeared, Donnie could have had those things. Perhaps they never would have happened at all, because without the clock counting down, Donnie might not have felt any urgency to claim those things. It is a good representation that when our time is running out, through sickness, accident, or malice, that is when we sadly understand the value of our lives. Donnie Darko is a beautiful story of what could have been, a possible future sacrifice for the greater good, but there is also a tragic beauty in witnessing that stolen future from the eyes of an outsider.
I finished my pie.
Bryony Tallis is at the age where she acts more mature than she is, an adorable mimicry of her perspective of an adult's maturity, while still getting hopelessly lost within the imagination of a 13-year-old girl. As an avid writer and a child, her mind often misinterprets the world around her, her innocent understanding of complicated issues rewritten into black and white concepts. While Bryony's cousins are visiting, she witnesses multiple interactions between her older sister Cecilia and the housekeeper's son, Robbie Turner. Those interactions are misunderstood from the actual context of the situation. The retrieval of a shard from a broken vase in a fountain is a case of bullying. An accidental switching of letters is instead the actions of a sex-crazed maniac. Consensual intimacy is an act of egregious violence. These misunderstandings ultimately accumulate later that night when Bryony stumbles upon her cousin Lola being assaulted by a man. She might not have seen the man's face, but there is not a shadow of doubt within her mind. The perpetrator was Robbie Turner. Misunderstandings, emotions like confusion and jealousy, and the mind of a child leads to Bryony Tallis lying to the police officers that she knows 100% the perpetrator was Robbie Turner. Saw it was Robbie Turner. The true attacker does not step forward, and Lola does not speak up whether or not Robbie was her attacker, so Robbie Turner is arrested. The rest of the movie is split between three perspectives: Robbie Turner, drafted from prison into the turmoil of World War II, Cecilia Tallis, working as a nurse during the war, and Bryony Tallis, now older and wiser, dealing with the emotional weight and fallout of an innocent lie. Robbie and Cecilia have made a promise to one another to survive the war and reunite. Robbie traverses quiet battlegrounds and empty cities, marching onwards with fellow soldiers to reach Cecilia. Cecilia Cecilia is battling her own feelings over Robbie and her feelings towards her younger sister. She waits upon Robbie's arrival or the tragic news of his death before finding out that Bryony also decided to become a nurse. Bryony opted not to go to college, but experiences the painful reality of a combat nurse, meeting both people she once knew and others she never had the chance to. The loss and pain in the trauma room leaving an invisible brand upon her and the other nurses. The conclusion of the war is the three reuniting. Bryony finds Cecilia and subsequently finds Robbie. She doesn't defend her actions, but lays the truth bare after all these years. She lied about seeing Robbie's face. While the relationship between sisters might be permanently damaged, there's a sense of relief from all the characters and the audience that the truth was spoken aloud, except that is not what happened. It is what could have been. Bryony, in her own words, was too much of a coward to visit, but she also never had the chance to, because Robbie Turner died the last day of the evacuation on June 1st, 1940, and Cecilia Tallis died a few months later on October 15th, 1940. Cecilia and Robbie never had a future. It was an imagined possibility that Bryony wrote in her autobiography, and the other sad truth is that Bryony's future was lost as well. All three of their possible futures were stolen from the actions of one sadistic man. The future of Cecilia and Robbie were lost with the physical death, while a part of Bryony could never leave the past, a piece of a 13-year-old girl stuck where she made the biggest mistake of her life. The tragedy and atonement of what could have been is not merely contained within the lives of our three main characters, but seen in the lives of the people lost in the war. The film shows young men, women, and children suffering from decisions made by other people, people that don't even know the names of the lives they have permanently changed. Despite the common mantra, the world is unfair, the world is incredibly fair. That fairness feels unfair because anyone technically has the free will to do anything, and sometimes that includes having an impact on your life. Donnie Darko and Atonement highlight emotions that resonate so prominently with us because it is an accurate representation of life. Sometimes good people experience bad things. Sometimes the bad guy gets away with the crime, and sometimes death arrives at the doorsteps of the most undeserving people in the most unexpected ways, and we are merely left behind to think about the life lost, the stolen possibilities, and all that could have been. If there is a lesson to be learned from these stories, perhaps it is to value the time that we have and to appreciate the loved ones around us. Perhaps even more so in times of low, when we feel that the world cannot get any worse, we can remember the unpriceable value of our own life, the air that we breathe in every minute, a wonderful gift, and that while we might not be able to control certain things in the world, we have agency over our responses to those things outside of our control. So take a moment in great crisis to step outside, take a deep breath, and remember that for today you are alive. You still have the chance to make change, and that is a gift in of itself. Thank you so much for watching my Freaky Freaks. If you enjoy this type of content and wish to join the Freak for Freak family, consider subscribing to the channel, and always remember,
I'll think of you when I'm not here, 'cause thinking of people makes them seem near. The friends who know you, love you cheerfully, I do too.